Do you think that a composer's ideas, personality, convictions are necessarily expressed in their music?
Yes, but it is mainly of no import. You can, also Deutsch.
Oder English, or
You can trace some of the terrible traits of the Nazi regime to German romanticism. But you will not discard Schubert on that account. You won't do that. And we know that I think Tchaikovsky or others were anti-Semites. So what? Tchaikovsky was a homosexual. So what? All this, there is no end to it. Because romanticism can lead to Auschwitz and can lead to the most beautiful things in life, to Am Brunnen vor dem Tore. Yes, it is something indifferent. I go even further. I would not mount the barricades for playing Richard Strauss. He lived in Germany. He was not a Thomas Mann who would emigrate. So he howled with the wolves, or he went after his career. This is not very, very honorable. So he is not a hero. But this is not the question. And his music is music. There is no ideology of this kind behind his music. So you cannot straighten out almost personal records and disputes with his music. Salome, whatever you want. I can listen to Salome without thinking that he made a career under Hitler. Wagner is of a different kind altogether.
You said you're not an expert, but you've spoken quite passionately about music as something that seems to mean quite a lot to you.
Yes.
What is it that made the Jews go so quickly and so effectively and so significantly into music once they came out of the ghettos? What is it in music that was so important to them?
We don't know the melodies that were played in the temple in Jerusalem, but we have the Psalms of David, and we have descriptions of the very central role music played in the temple. Very many descriptions. So maybe that this love for music, this succumbing to music among the Jews goes back to our ancient history.
What is music?
I think it is the most direct vehicle the human being has invented to translate, to express feelings. Language cannot go so far. Any language, you see, any eloquence. This is the most direct expression of the innermost feelings of the human being. This is what music is, in my opinion.
We've more or less agreed that music is not just... Now, we have agreed that music is not just a collection of notes which give us pleasure, which are a manifestation of a human game for organization, that it has something much deeper than that. How is it possible that the people who, as you've said, brought so much into music, the Germans, can produce commanders of concentration camps who so much want music that they will force the inmates of those camps to play for them knowing that music is such an important thing, and knowing they intend to murder those people, what happens? How does this occur?
This is a philosophical question I'm not sure I can cope with, because it has to do with human nature. How is it possible that Hitler was a vegetarian? Because he didn't want to kill animals. That Hitler was so fond of his dog and of children, the same Hitler. How is it possible? I really can't answer this. And then you come to the question, which is really a very difficult question. Somewhere like Scylla and Charybdis. Do you want to say that the Germans are like anybody else, and that this could happen to any other human being? Because inside every human being there is good and evil, also very evil. On the other hand, you had fascism in other countries, and it did not come to that. The Germans took much of their technique from the Italian fascism, from communist repression, which preceded them. You have fathers of fascism, spiritual fathers in France, and nowhere did it come to anything near to this demonic thing I described before. So why did it happen to the Germans? Already in Tacitus, the Germans, such traits are ascribed to the Germans, and Heinrich Heine warned of the German beast and foresaw the Holocaust. So there is something they have to be very careful of inside them. I think everybody has to be like when you go to the doctor and he says, you have a tendency for sugar, so beware of this and this and this and this. So every nation, because everybody has some traits inside himself, and he should be warned, where is the danger, according to their condition. So there is something in it, and the Germans themselves and the world should watch the German beast. There is something inside, some potential which this madman, this genius madman Hitler brought out.